So many massive wrestling news stories in this video, so go ahead and check out the timestamps in the description down below. We're kicking things off with Miro and Andrade, who may be unhappy with AEW, and honestly, this is not shocking. If you guys watch pro wrestling and you see what AEW has done with Andrade and Miro, you would be scratching your head, and it just simply doesn't make sense. And one person on Twitter, SpicyCakes84, actually came out and tweeted Tony Khan, hey, so you signed Miro to AEW from a rival organization just to have him do what exactly? Didn't think I'd miss the day would come that I missed Rusev Day. He's been used worse with y'all than he was in WWE. Same goes with Andrade. Then, what was really interesting is Miro also tweeted a quote retweet from AEW's little, highlights that they posted between Jon Moxley and Mance Warner. And Miro says, who is this guy that is fighting for the title? Somebody responded to him, are you still in AEW? Seems like you had it better in WWE. Now, what's really interesting here is Miro actually liked that tweet, and Andrade actually liked that tweet that I mentioned earlier. So this is a really strange time for AEW. You're making a lot of signings, and obviously that's going to be an issue in itself. But also at the same time, too, when it comes to AEW making these signings, not everybody goes into AEW highly successful. And I don't know if it's because of the talent or because of AEW. And I think everybody's going to have, a debate on this. But I feel like Miro and Malachi Black and Andrade, I don't feel like those guys should be sticking around in the mid-card. I don't think those guys should be on TV once in a while. I feel like these guys should be prominent stars for AEW, and I thought that was going to be one of the advantages for people to go from WWE to AEW. But, factually speaking, that doesn't actually seem to be the case. So as much as I like AEW, I do scratch my head at the thought of Miro not really being involved in anything major. And I do think this is because of too little TV time and too many people on the roster, different priorities. And I think that's one of the biggest issues AEW has, and it's unfortunate. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about some major changes for WWE. Guys, we're going to kick off with Kairi saying, obviously, Asuka, in WWE right now does not have a tag team partner. She actually put out a tweet about this because she wants to be a women's tag team champion again. And if you guys didn't know, WWE did announce that they are doing a tournament to crown the WWE women's tag team champions. And so with this news, Asuka put this out because she wants to be another tag champ again. She wants to be tag champion again. And Kairi Sane responded, and now everybody believes that Kairi Sane could potentially come back. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that Kairi Sane is actually coming back just based on a tweet. However, Kairi Sane and Asuka were a wonderful tag team, and you never know with Triple H being involved if this could be a potential opportunity for them to bring her back. Obviously, her reasons for leaving WWE, she became an ambassador, then she went back to Japan, and she's been doing that ever since. So the likelihood of this actually coming true, to me, is unlikely, but it doesn't mean it's not probable, and there's always that possibility. So I do want to see Kairi Sane back in WWE, especially under Triple H and his guidance with the women's division. It seems like the women's division is actually going to be a big focus for the company. And I think if you are actually trying to build a women's division, you got to have the best women's talent. And Kairi Sane did a wonderful job in WWE. Her and Asuka were amazing, and I liked it a lot. But now WWE is making more changes. That leads us to Garza. You guys remember him? Yeah, I don't blame you if you don't remember. It's not like he's off of TV or whatever. It's just WWE really hasn't done anything with Garza. And I think a lot of that just had to do with Vince McMahon. Well, now Angel Garza put out on Twitter that he is back to having two names. He is now going back to being known as Angel Garza. This appears to be another Triple H move, and quite honestly, this is a fantastic idea. The one name thing is something I've mentioned in my videos before. It's not always a bad thing, but it's not always necessary. Like Tommaso Ciampa, I like the name Ciampa. Ciampa's a good name. Ciampa by itself is completely fine. Angel Garza, to me, is better than just Garza. So I think it's a case-by-case scenario, but WWE is starting to reverse some things that Vince McMahon did, and I think that is the most important thing that Triple H does, is realize some of these things that WWE has changed for no reason, they don't need to be changed at all. So Angel Garza is back to being Angel Garza, which is wonderful news, but the changes don't stop there. That is because WWE reportedly has plans to repackage T-Bar. And if you guys know anything about me and what I talk about on pro wrestling news and give my thoughts and opinions, you know I am a huge fan of Dijakovic. And I thought Dominik Dijakovic was incredible in NXT. He went to the main roster. I understood what Vince McMahon was trying to do with Retribution. I understood it, but I don't like the execution. And because of the failed execution with Dominik Dijakovic, it basically felt flat. It fell flat, okay? And it did not work. And then instead of repackaging him or admitting the mistake, they just kind of let him do nothing and go on main event. Now, I don't actually watch main event, but I saw a lot of people on Twitter talk about WWE main event. They said, guys, you have to go on there and start watching some of these matches with T-Bar. He's really impressive. The crowd is they're going crazy for him, you know? So check it out, see what you think. And I was watching it, and this guy could still go. He's 35 years old. Honestly, like with the way wrestling is these days, I don't think age is too much of a concern as much as people try to make it out to be. Triple H is reportedly planning on repackaging him. This is according to a new report from PW Insider. They believe that this repackaging is going to be happening in the coming time, maybe even as soon as today, depending on when you're watching this video. But basically, the idea is, you know, he thrived very well in NXT, just like Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross returned. They're going to repackage him. There's also this belief on the internet that he might not go back to being Dominik Dijak. He might not just be Dijak or Dijakovic or anything like that. They might just give him a whole brand new presentation. But the guy has the look. You know, Karrion Kross is a badass that's on SmackDown. Maybe T-Bar gets repackaged into something even a little bit more badass on the main roster. And I'm all about this. I think WWE needs to make moves like this. I think you need to reverse some of those bad things I was talking about, name changes, repackages, just freshen things up. You don't need to sign a whole bunch of people, but you need to freshen things up. This is a great way of doing it. Introduce some of those people who were buried before. Give them a chance, an opportunity. That's the common theme that I mentioned in my videos. You got to give people a chance. You got to give people that opportunity just to show what they can do. And from there, I think that's the beginning to a fresh start for WWE. Now, with that being said, our final topic of today's video, Bray Wyatt possibly returning to WWE. Guys, we have talked so much about Bray Wyatt in the past, and obviously there was a whole bunch of rumors with AEW and WWE and all of these different things. Impact was a rumor at one point. So Wyndham put out this tweet: "Wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale It's a fairy tale, a comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. Lines are blurred. Heroes are villains. Budgets are cut. Business is business. But it could also be a land where dead men walk, where honor makes you elite, where demons run for office, and rock bottom is a reason to rejoice." Woo! It's an escape, a reason to point the blame at anyone but yourself for 2 to 3 hours, an excuse to be a kid again, and nothing matters except the moment we are in. Wrestling is not a love story. It's much more. It's hope. And in a world surrounded in hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come, we all know for a better place that has a hot and cold on tap. For better or for worse. Now, the rumor right now is that Bray Wyatt is expected to come back to WWE. There's even potentially a chance that it may have already been agreed to. I don't know if this is actually true or not, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys Bray Wyatt is signed to WWE, but the rumors before were that AEW and Bray Wyatt cannot come to a financial agreement. Whether that's true or not remains to be unseen. But I do think Bray Wyatt and obviously blurring the lines between social media and real life, I think he does a really good job of it. Him being cryptic also very much helps. Bray Wyatt's one of those guys where he has not, he's not done anything since his WWE release. And the belief is that Triple H is looking at bringing back some of those people who were really talented, really good, who fit the model for WWE, bring them back, give them a chance. And Bray Wyatt could be one of those guys. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching.